Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Tracy Shilshi and today we are turning our focus to the latest developments in Nagaland. In a fresh twist in the poll-bound state, the BJP on Tuesday backed out of a joint declaration signed by all parties in the state to not contest the February 27th assembly polls. Now, BJP leaders have said that the final decision on the matter will be taken up by the party's central leadership. The party also suspended its state executive council member, Kheto Semaparthi, who had signed the joint declaration on Monday. Earlier in the day, Minister of State for Home, Kiren Rijiju, appealed to the parties not to boycott the polls. In a series of tweets, Rijiju, who is also BJP's election in charge for Nagaland, asserted that the government was bound by constitutional process of holding elections. Now, representatives of 11 political parties, including the Naga People's Front and the Congress, had on Monday decided not to file nominations for the assembly elections. The declaration came following a meeting in capital Kohima of tribal civil society groups who have been pressing upon the centre to find a solution to the peace process before the elections.
भाजपा समेत एनपीएफ के किसी घटक दल को भी इस संकल्प को दोहराने में दिक्कत आनी चाहिए जो श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के कार्यकाल में साइन हुई है। तो बीजेपी, एनसीपी और नेशनल पीपल्स फ्रंट दैट इज एनपीएफ, ये सभी वहाँ का जो सत्ताधारी फ्रंट है उसके हिस्से हैं, इसलिए सब लोग इकट्ठे मिलकर चुनाव लड़ेंगे, इसकी संभावना है।
All right, so that's one of the reactions, of course, that we've been getting through the day. And we are going to discuss this in detail with our guests here. We've got Mr. K.N. Gobalagopal, who's former Advocate General of Nagaland. We have Deepak Diwan, editor of Northeast Sun, and also Chuba Ozukum, who's the president of Naga Ho, joining us on Skype from Kohima. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me here on The Big Picture. Chuba, if I could come to you first, since you're on the ground, and the movement really is from there. Give us, first of all, the details of why you are, of course, going ahead with this move. What are your demands?
Actually, this is not the first time that the Naga people are requesting the government of India to defer the elections. It was happened in 1998 also, during our lifetime. And after about 21 years, we are facing the same problem. We have been requesting the government of India to give us the political solution before the state elections, because we know the consequences of the election in Nagaland. I should say that this will be, the elections in Nagaland will be one of the costliest in India. And also, during the past about 4 or 5 years, even from the Indian leaders, like President of India, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, and most importantly, the interlocutor, they've been telling us that the solution is coming. We were expecting before the Christmas, that is 2017, but everything has gone. Nothing was happened. Now Naga people are fed up. There is corruption in the state, and we have a lot of governments in Nagaland. So this is the time that Naga people are demanding that solution should be first. We are not saying that election should not be held. Election can be held after, bringing the solution. That is why Naga people are today longing for political solution.
All right. Continue to stay with us, Chuba. Let me take it forward to our guests in the studio. Deepak Diwan, you'd like to make a point?
I would like to ask Mr. Chuba Ozukum. Chuba, you mentioned about 1998. The same situation is being repeated now. But don't you agree with me that in 1998, the Nagas were divided? So were the political parties. See, IM, which signed the ceasefire in 1997, was bitterly opposed by the then Chief Minister S.C. Jamir. That's why probably when Ho also gave a call for no election solution only, Congress went ahead and contested the elections and they won 53 seats, and many seats they won unopposed because there were no candidates. So how the situation is different from 98 in terms of the Nagas unity now in 2018? Are Nagas divided or are they one?
Yes, I can admit that Nagas were not united in 1998, and the ceasefire between the government of India and the NSNIM was just signed. And of course, after the signing of ceasefire in 1997, maybe after 1 year, election was held. So we said solution should be first. But that time, Naga people were not united. It was Naga Hoho and the Naga Students Federation, and of course some political leaders, political parties, and the NSNIM cheered together to request the government of India to defer the elections. But that time, the Congress party was a ruling government in the state.
Okay.
And yes, E.C. Jamir was the chief minister. The Congress party was so strong, so determined to go ahead with the elections. So we could not stop them. Yes, we requested the Congress party to abstain, but they went ahead.
All right.
So we could not stop. But this time, Naga people are one. Our language is one, our voice is one. Whether it is Naga political groups like NSNIM or the 6 NNBGS, what we call it, and all the political parties, tribal Hohos and Naga civil organizations, we are united. So the situation is different.
All right.
And also,
some very important points that you're making there, Chuba, and I'll come back to you, but I'll just go to Mr. Balagopal as well. 2 points, of course, that he's made there. He's comparing, of course, the Nagaland and the unity, of course, of 2 decades back and now. Things, of course, have changed as far as Nagaland is concerned. He is clearly admitting that as far as unity is concerned, they're, of course, willing to be more progressing towards the democratic process. They seem to be more open to that idea, definitely. Apart from that, another thing that has, of course, changed since then is that the talks, of course, at least on the center's front, from, of course, the ceasefire, you know, the extensions of it, you did see the signing of that peace accord. So a lot has, of course, changed since 1998, as Chuba is pointing out. What do you make of this latest development, though, that we are seeing in Nagaland? Do you think it's momentary, or do you feel this is going to last further?
You see, what's happening today has a checkered history of almost 7 decades. In fact, this peace process started around the time we got independence. There was a plebiscite in Nagaland in 1951 where the people decided that they will have a separate state. It was thereafter, in terms of Article 371A of the Constitution, special privileges were given to the state of Nagaland, and it was believed, according to the assurance given by the then Prime Minister, that the peace talks would go on a positive note. What actually happened was that though there are assurances for the last 7 decades by different governments, there is nothing on the ground. This is very shameful.
Okay.
If we can't sort out a problem of the Nagas which is within the state, within the country, then imagine what is our plight as to how we will sort out the border dispute with so many other countries around us.
All right, all right. But the idea, but of course, what I'm trying to say is that we have definitely, as far as the center is concerned, in whichever way, and I'm talking about previous governments as well, they've always tried to at least come forward and try to solve this problem. And yes, like you pointed out, they've of course met many hurdles. But you know, when the Modi government of course came, they made that peace accord possible.
Framework agreement.
Absolutely, there was that framework agreement that was made.
In 2015,
and as being pointed out, these are sensitive issues. These are sensitive issues which also deal with other states in the Northeast, and hence this takes time. Do you not feel that, you know, as far as this particular case is concerned, considering that it's been in the churning for so many decades, you know, give the government some more time to try and figure out, of course, and come up with a concrete plan?
Well, I think it's up to the people of Nagaland to understand. But if they feel that they want solution before the election because they don't want overlapping of the solution versus the government. Because see, the thing is, once you have the candidates, naturally these underground people also, they are known as national workers in Nagaland. We call them underground.
Or rebel groups. So
for Nagas, they are national workers. You will not find a single family in Nagaland which did not contribute in terms of manpower or by money or whatever means when the initial struggle, I mean their struggle started. In 60s I'm talking about. So Nagas are very sentimental about the outcome of the ongoing peace process. See, especially now, from last year, earlier till last year we were talking only to the NSC and IM. Now the Government of India initiated dialogue with all the remaining 6 NNPGs. These are Naga National, some name is their full name, I mean, I'm sorry, there's so many things there, so it's not coming in my mind.
Progressive groups, is it?
But
yes.
Even last year, there was a joint statement signed by NSC and IM and interlocutor Mr. R.N. Ravi that we are nearing the solution. I don't remember the exact language. So that gave a very big hope to the people of Nagaland, and they were really expecting, as Chuba said, that Centre may announce it before the Christmas as a gift, Christmas present to the people of Nagaland or Naga areas. So this is the situation. Now, I would like to go back to Mr. Chuba once again. Is he connected with us?
Chuba, if you can hear, there's another question coming towards you.
Chuba, what is this episode now? They have suspended the BJP signatory who signed this declaration along with the other 10 parties.
And that also shows the indication about how the centre is also going to be taking this forward. Yes.
If the situation, if the BJP you think will go along go for the elections, you think they can go? How will people react? How will people, look? I mean, treat them?
Okay. Our last meeting with the political parties was held yesterday, but even before that, we've met all the political parties separately and together also. But 26th January, 27th, we wanted to meet the BJP party, but unfortunately the president was in Delhi. So our core committee convener, Mr. Tija, he could speak to the president over phone because even that day nobody was present from BJP. So when the convener of the core committee spoke to him, he said that I have deputed my vice president and general secretary. But they didn't come to attend the meeting. So he said, okay, if that is the case, if Naga people are united, then BJP will be there. We will cooperate. We have to live with the Naga people. That was he said. And then the convener, Mr. Tija, informed us in the meeting. We were having confidence and we've trusted on him that with his assurance. And again, yesterday's meeting, of course, the president could not come because he was on his way.
But of course, on Tuesday we saw
Delhi.
that as far as the BJP is concerned, the central leadership has taken a particular decision. We also saw, like we pointed out, we've got, of course, Ram Madhav, who's, of course, looking after operations in the northeast, and you've got, of course, Kiren Rijiju himself saying that as far as, the process of elections is concerned, it will continue. Chuba, you mentioned in the very first answer saying that the people of Nagaland are united. They want to move forward because there is a lot of problems that, on the ground level people are facing. One, of course, you've pointed out corruption is one of them. As far as development is concerned, there's so much more needed to be done in the state of Nagaland. When you think about all of this, wouldn't it be right then to hold the elections and see what the voice of the people is?
No, we want to defer the election. In the first place, solution should come. We have to, start the new system. We want to develop our state. We want to change the system. Otherwise, we cannot expect any development or any kind of economic development in the state. I would like to refer to Deepak's query. Now, BGP, yes, Mr. Ketu was suspended by the party, but now the Naga people, I'm sure, will also not remain silent. After giving us the assurance, yes, suspension or whatever, that is their internal matter. But how can they cheat the Naga people? So it's up to them, but Naga people also will not silent if they go ahead with the filing of nomination papers.
Mr. Chuba, today the BJP president, Mr. Visole Lungu, your state president, he has said yes, they were told to attend the meeting, but they were not authorized to sign the paper. How do you, what comment
I think that is exactly the point that he was trying to make, that they got some assurance, of course, from the BJP, and that didn't get translated. And that is perhaps adding more to that mistrust that they're perhaps having with the centre. And Mr. Balgopal, it's unfortunate, isn't it, that, on one front, you do see a government that is trying to push it forward. They are, of course, having definitely much more talks. They definitely have proceeded, at least as far as previous governments are concerned, to bring out with some kind of an agreement, some kind of a framework agreement. Because of the fact that it's such a sensitive matter, it's taking time. Where do you see this moving forward?
Before we move forward, let us go backward.
Okay.
Nagas are, I would say, they are the only tribes in this country who have never been under any Hindu ruler, a Mughal king, and even the British has had very limited suzerainty. That is why when we got independence on August 14, 1947, Fizo also declared an independent Naga state at that time. While talks were going on and the government was not listening, it was Fizo who said, if we can't live together, let us part. So let us not forget this. This is the real spirit of the Naga movement. Keeping this in background, you have taken almost 6-7 decades, except for talks, nothing has come on the ground. I am not blaming or praising any government as far as the settlement is concerned. There is an old saying, beware of the anger of a patient man. Nagas have been patiently waiting for an outcome. They have never come in the way of this settlement. Unanimously through all parties, everybody is asking for a settlement. Then why is this settlement not happening? Now, it is logical to infer that out of this settlement, something positive will come as far as the Nagas are concerned, so that they can say with pride that the wait is long. But if the settlement, for any unforeseen reason, is going to turn out to be cosmetic in nature, it can create more problems than the solutions which are going to be there. We are not aware of what exactly is behind the scene. Definitely, the main concern of the government of India is the basis Greater Nagalim, wherein all the contiguous Naga areas, that is Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur, those territories had to be joined together. That was the initial theme in the beginning. But if you keep that apart, what are the other benefits the government is going to give to the people of Nagaland who have waited for 70 years, who could have been a sovereign state if they chose in 1947 itself? So, just because they don't agitate, they don't come on the road, they don't create a hue and cry, that does not mean you cannot respond.
All right, Chuba, coming to you then, what is it? When you talk of a solution, when you talk of the peace process, does it only involve that peace accord? Does it only involve that Greater Nagalim? Or is there more that you demand, that you expect from the government of India?
No, when we talk about a political settlement, we cannot call it a Greater Nagaland. we're not fighting, we're not claiming for Greater Nagaland. We're just claiming, we're just asking what is ours. Because all these, Naga areas, all these belongs to Naga people since time immemorial. So even today, we are not asking for any Greater Nagaland. Yes, people are shouting here in India, especially our neighboring states like Manipur, Assam. But then we're not fighting with them also. We're just asking the government of India to give us what is ours. And apart from the integration, yes, I cannot say what I want or what Naga people want. It's up to the negotiators between the government of India and the negotiators. Only thing is, what is the best option for both India and the Naga people? That has to be settled at the earliest.
Okay. Deepak, it does seem, of course, he seems to make it sound, of course, very simple to, they only have a demand, which, of course, is to bring all the Naga areas together, but paths are crossing, and therefore, which is why we keep stressing that it's a sensitive issue, because there are other states involved as well, and that is one of the main the crux really of why things have not been able to move as smoothly as they would have liked to. But the centre will obviously not concede. It's a constitutional process. At the onset of it, it does seem that the election process at least will go on. But if this is the kind of if this is the kind of response that we get across Nagaland, how do you see this going?
I think we are going to face a near deadlock situation. Let me remind you, Chuba is there, he'll agree with me. Exactly a year ago, if you remember, there were the elections were to be held for the local bodies.
That's
with
right.
30% reservation for women.
Yes.
You remember the protests and the people's opposition forced Nagaland government not to conduct that election. Even the Chief Minister had to resign under public pressure.
Yes.
And Mr. Shuruzile was made the Chief Minister, T.R. Zeliang had to resign for some time. So I see similar kind of situation.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think, if you look at the, as I mentioned to you, you will not find a single family which has not helped national workers. We call them underground here.
Yes.
They are connected directly with this, and they all want a solution as early as possible, because I think the solution also has some kind of, I mean, it is still, nobody is just it could be my guess, wild guess, some alternate arrangement of governance.
Okay.
That's why time and again all the assemblies, in number of times they have said, we are ready to pave the way for the solution. All these chief ministers and the MLAs, number of times they have said, and including December 14th, even the assembly passed a resolution asking centre to defer the elections till the election, till the solution comes.
All right. Very quickly, how do you see this moving forward? Do you see a deadlock situation too?
There may not be a deadlock in the sense the writing on the wall is very clear. There is no question of postponing this solution any further. The time has come for implementing the solution.
Okay.
Because once you have come out with it in August 2015, I'm sure most of the parameters would have been worked out. So I don't see any reason why the solution will not come.
All right.
And if the government, central government gives an assurance, which they have not given so far, that it would be implemented in a very reasonable period, then I think there can be a balancing act in Nagaland. At the same time, if things are left to vacuum as has happened in decades, then there can be serious problems as far as the democratic setup of Nagaland is concerned.
All right, we'll have to wait and watch and see how things go. I'm sorry, Deepak, we're running short of time. Chuba Ozukum, thank you so much for joining us here on The Big Picture and giving us, a sense of the ground reality there. You spoke about Naga unity, you spoke about the fact that you want to see, of course, Nagaland move forward, and we hope for the same as well. Thank you so much, Deepak, and thank you so much, Mr. K. N. Balgopal, for joining us as well on this debate. We'll continue tracking developments, of of course, of what takes place in Nagaland, keenly watching, of course, all the developments. The EC, of course, is going to be speaking, we believe, and give its, its statement, of course, on what it thinks about the situation that's developing there. We'll keep an eye out. For the moment, that's it on The Big Picture. Thank you for joining us.